Saddam Hussein's journey to the pinnacle of power began in poverty. He was born in 1937 in the village of Al-Ajah, near Tikrit, to a family of sheep herders. He never knew his father and suffered a harsh upbringing under his stepfather. At the age of 10, he moved to Baghdad to live with his uncle, Khairul Atalfa, a devout Sunni nationalist who profoundly shaped young Saddam's political views. His political career began early. In 1957, at just 20 years old, he joined the Ba'ath Party, a radical, pan-Arabist organization. He made his debut in a dramatic fashion in 1959, participating in a failed Ba'athist assassination attempt on the then Prime Minister, Abdul Karim Qasim. Wounded in the leg, Saddam fled, first to Syria and then to Egypt, where he would stay until 1963. He returned to Iraq after the Ba'ath Party first took power in a 1963 coup, but the party was overthrown later that same year. Saddam was arrested in 1964 for plotting against the new regime but escaped from prison in 1967. He quickly rose through the party ranks and was instrumental in the July 1968 coup that finally brought the Ba'ath Party back to power for good, under General Ahmed Hassan al-Bakr. Saddam became the vice chairman of the Revolutionary Command Council and the strongman of the regime long before he officially became president. Crown securing power. The 1979 purge and the shadow state. In July 1979, the ailing President al-Bakr resigned, and Saddam formally assumed the presidency. His first major act as president was a chilling demonstration of his intent to rule with an iron fist. He convened an assembly of senior Ba'ath Party leaders. After a seemingly routine meeting, Saddam took the stage and, with a cold, calm demeanor, began reading a list of names. He identified these party members as traitors and disloyal elements within a conspiracy allegedly backed by Syria. One by one, these men were led out of the room by security guards. As they were taken away, Saddam congratulated those who remained, thanking them for their loyalty. The room erupted in a cacophony of applause and frantic shouts of support for their new leader. The men taken away were executed by firing squad. With this single, televised event, Saddam eliminated potential rivals and bound the remaining party leaders to him through shared terror and complicity. This purge established the foundational principle of Saddam's rule, absolute loyalty, enforced by fear. He built an intricate and overlapping system of control, often described as a shadow state, that operated behind the facade of the official government. This system had several key pillars. The inner circle and the Tikrit Mafia. At the core of the regime were individuals Saddam trusted most, not unconditionally, but because their fates were irrevocably tied to his. This circle was composed of family members, men from his own Al-Bu Nasir tribe near Tikrit, and longtime associates. They were placed in command of the most sensitive security forces and elite military units. Overlapping security apparatus. Saddam created multiple, fiercely competitive intelligence and security agencies, such as the Mukhabarat, General Security, and Special Security. Their jurisdictions overlapped deliberately, ensuring they spied on each other and that all information and loyalty flowed directly back to the president, who alone held the full picture. The Ba'ath Party and patronage. Beyond the inner circle, the Ba'ath Party itself was transformed into a vast network of patronage. Loyalty was rewarded with access to resources, jobs, and power within the shadow state, a system that thrived and grew even as the public infrastructure crumbled under war and sanctions. Cult of personality. Every building and street corner in Iraq was adorned with portraits of Saddam in various guises: a military commander, a pious Bedouin, a modern statesman. This omnipresent imagery was designed to portray him as the father of the nation and the inheritor of the glories of ancient Mesopotamia, linking his rule to figures like Nebuchadnezzar and Hammurabi. Balanced scale. The ruler, secular modernizer and brutal autocrat. In the first decade of his rule, Saddam cast himself as a revolutionary and modernizer, modeling his domestic policies on Soviet-style state socialism. He used Iraq's oil wealth, nationalized in 1972, to fund ambitious development plans, mechanize agriculture, and expand education. His regime gave women added freedoms and offered them high-level government jobs, and it created a Western-style legal system, making Iraq the only country in the Gulf region not strictly ruled by Islamic law at the time. However, these progressive reforms were a facade built atop a foundation of increasing corruption and brutal repression. The law did not apply to Saddam, his relatives, or his cronies. The primary tools for managing the country were arbitrary violence and terror. Iraq is a nation deeply divided along ethnic and sectarian lines. Saddam and the Ba'ath Party were Sunni Muslims, drawing their core support from the Sunni Arab minority, who comprised only about 20% of the population. The Shia majority in the south and the Kurds in the north were permanently hostile to the regime's authority. For Saddam, ruling as a dictator was not just an ambition but a perceived necessity to keep these groups subordinated. He had no tolerance for dissent, once replying to a question about torture by saying, "Of course. What do you expect if they oppose the regime?" In the later years of his rule, he pragmatically shifted his public image, introducing some Islamic elements to co-opt religious conservatives. Crossed swords the wars, Iran, Kuwait, and the Kurds. Saddam's ambition to lead the Arab world and dominate the Persian Gulf led him into three catastrophic wars. The Iran-Iraq War 1980–1988. In September 1980, fearing the influence of Iran's new Islamic revolution on Iraq's Shia majority, Saddam launched a full-scale invasion of Iran. What he intended as a swift victory turned into an 8-year stalemate, leaving an estimated 1 million people dead and both economies in ruins. During this war, Saddam's regime used chemical weapons against Iranian troops and, most infamously, against his own people. The Anfal campaign in Halabja. To crush Kurdish rebels in the north, Saddam's forces launched the genocidal Al-Anfal campaign in 1988. The worst single incident occurred on March 16, 1988, when Iraqi aircraft attacked the Kurdish town of Halabja with a cocktail of poison gas and nerve agents, killing an estimated 5,000 people, mostly women and children. The invasion of Kuwait and the Gulf War 1990–1991, burdened by massive debt from the Iran-Iraq War and accusing Kuwait of stealing oil through slant drilling, Saddam ordered the invasion and annexation of Kuwait in August 1990. This act drew universal condemnation. A U.S.-led international coalition launched Operation Desert Storm in January 1991, swiftly and decisively ejecting Iraqi forces from Kuwait. Bomb downfall and legacy. The Gulf War defeat triggered uprisings by Shia in the south and Kurds in the north, which Saddam's forces crushed with characteristic brutality, causing thousands to flee to refugee camps. The subsequent decade was marked by crippling UN sanctions, which devastated Iraq's economy and infrastructure, while Saddam's shadow state continued to enrich his loyalists. In the aftermath of the September 11, 2001 attacks, the U.S. government, asserting that Saddam possessed weapons of mass destruction and might provide them to terrorists, led a coalition to invade Iraq in March 2003. Saddam's regime crumbled in weeks. He fled from the capital and went into hiding, but was captured by U.S. forces in December 2003, found hiding in a small underground spider hole near his hometown of Tikrit. He was tried by the new Iraqi government for crimes against humanity, specifically for the 1982 massacre of 148 Shia villagers in Dujail. Found guilty, Saddam Hussein was sentenced to death and executed by hanging on December 30, 2006.